Welcome back Chessbox Worldwide. We are about to drop a match that's pure fire. This isn't your average game, it's a legendary clash from the Federation of East African School Sports Association, featuring two of the continent's most promising talents, the strategic powerhouse, FM-elect Pido Edwin from Uganda, and the tactical wizard, Hawi Kaloki from Kenya. Get ready for a masterclass in aggression and defense, where one brilliant move turns the tide and leaves us all in Hawi. So hit that button, subscribe. Let's dive into the ultimate chess showdown that will leave you buzzing with excitement. So about the players. Hawi Kaloki is a talented young chess player from Kenya. He's the reigning under-16 and under-17 national chess champion of Kenya. Hawi, along with his sister Zuri, has represented Kenya in multiple international competitions, including the World Junior Chess Championship and the World Youth Chess Olympiad. In 2024, Hawi ended the year as the highest-rated chess player in Kenya. He is a student at Brookside International School, while Pido Edwin is a young chess player from Uganda. Pido has achieved success in national and international competitions, including winning gold medal at under-15 age category in the 2021 African Schools Individual Chess Championships. In 2025, he drew against a super grandmaster, Timov Gareyev, at the Uganda Open Chess Championship. Pido studies at St. Mary's College, Kisubi, and plays for the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority Chess Club. And in the white pieces, FM-elect Pido Edwin opened the game with 1 e4. Hawi Kaloki from Kenya opened with c5, the Sicilian defense, knight f3, knight c6, d3, and now we see g6, preparing to fianchetto the bishop sit on g7, g3, also preparing to put the bishop sit on g2, and now we see bishop comes to g7, bishop comes to g2, e5 is short castling from Pido, knight comes to e7, plan to go ahead for short castling, and in this position, Pido Edwin went on and played bishop e3, hitting on the pawn, which is sitting on c5, d6, and now we see knight comes to d2, planning to put the knight to sit on c4. In this position, Hawi also went on and played short castling, and Pido went on and played c3, stopping any knight intrusions which could come in the future. h6, cutting off any possible knight and bishop moves. Knight comes to c4. Let's go back. In this position, knight h4 should have been considered to put some pressure on black side so that they could create some weaknesses if they tend to attack the knight which is on h4. But Pido Edwin played knight comes to c4. f5, trying to expand on the king side. E takes f5, and after g takes f5, capturing towards the center, FM-elect Pido Edwin played queen d2, now connecting the rooks, and now very ready to go ahead and pick the pawn, which is hanging now on h6. In this position, Hawi went on and played f4, trying to get rid of the very powerful which is sitting on e3. Now we see g takes f4, and in this position, Hawi had an opportunity to take a free piece. Played bishop comes to g4, but however, d5 was winning a piece. For example, in case of d5, we could see knight takes pawn, and after pawn comes to d4, the bishop which is on e3 was a gone piece and was going to be trapped, and this would give black a huge advantage. Let's go back. After g takes f4, he played bishop comes to g4. In anticipation of pawn takes e5, and now the bishop can't win the knight on f3 because now it's supported by the rook which is sitting on f8. But however, Pido Edwin played knight comes to f1, but however, knight h4 should have been considered, and played pawn d5, which was the blunder in the game. Pawn comes to b5 should have been considered. For example, knight a3, hitting back on the pawn. Now remember that the bishop has been opened up. The bishop diagonal is now very free to attack the rook which is sitting on a8. So we play rook comes into b8, defending the pawn which is sitting on b5, and now f takes pawn. Pawn comes to b4, and this could give black a playable game. But however, after knight e1, he blundered the game and played d5. And in this position, Pido Edwin played the best move in the position. He played knight takes pawn. Knight takes e5, pawn takes in, bishop taking the pawn which is sitting on e5 should have been considered, but he played knight comes in, attacking the bishop and trying to open up for the queen to come into action. Bishop takes pawn on c5, bishop takes pawn finally. How we sacrifice the rook on f8, That's taking the pawn, which is on e5. And now we see bishop takes the rook on f8. King takes f8. d4, hitting on a bishop. Bishop falls back on c7. Knight comes to d3, planning to bring back the knight in the center. In this position, it was high time Hawi plays king comes into king g7 to avoid all the necessary funny checks which could come in by the knight sitting on d4 in the future. But however, he played queen comes into f6. And now we see knight comes into e5. In this position, bishop takes knight should have been considered, but he played queen h4. And now Pido made the last move which sealed his win. Knight g6, checking the king and also forking the queen, winning the game on the spot. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best of luck in your games.